So let's talk Game Awards. Let's talk the terrible decision that the industry has pushed forward with choosing The Last of Us 2 as the best game of this year, and the disrespect that we now have to face with Ghost of Tsushima not winning that title. And I'm going to explain why. First of all, I have myself streaming Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us on this channel. Both games absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. But when you think of the best game of that year, you have to think of the technicalities of what that game brings forth for gaming. Ghost of Tsushima has done things that I think we've never seen before in combat. My opinion is that Ghost of Tsushima's samurai combat is the most realistic thing we've seen to date. You can play Sekiro Dies Twice or any other type of game that has swords and things of that nature, and I don't think any of it comes close to what we saw with Ghost of Tsushima with its 4 stances. The fluidity of those animations and how they fly into each other, one into the other, how they transition into each other, the way it hits the enemy, the blocking, the dodging, the boss fights. Oh my god, the boss fights. That open world and the game loop in that open world between the combat, the haikus, the fox dens, the shrines, which played like Tomb Raider or Uncharted games. The game loop in that game was amazing, let alone the story, which not only led you down a main story arc, but had you recruit side story missions to charge in and save your uncle for those side characters that meant so much to the main mission. I thought it was so well done. Now, to contrast that for The Last of Us 2, a remarkable movie game, but its game loop and gameplay provided absolutely nothing for gaming in general to push it forward, right? What did they add? They added a prone. They added a prone to fight. The game loop in The Last of Us is basically scavenge and encounters. You scavenge a lot of empty areas. There's nothing to do. A little area is empty, and then boom, there's an encounter with either zombies or people, right? So you'll go down these little linear paths, a little open sandbox area, linear paths, buildings, linear areas, boom, bad guys. Zombies, kill some humans, scavenge, and 30 hours of cutscene, movie-like, beautiful motion captured video, right? Or motion captured cutscenes. Now, were the motion capture in Ghost of Tsushima as good? Absolutely not. You can tell Sucker Punch didn't put all of their time and effort into making sure that their motion capture was up to par with something like what Rockstar does or what Naughty Dog does with their games. But that's the point. The point is that they put all their time and effort into the gameplay. And when you fast forward cutscenes to play the video game, you can see beyond a shadow of a doubt how much more Ghost of Tsushima shines than The Last of Us. Now, I didn't play Hades, and I see that's a top-down action RPG-ish Diablo type game. I know there was Ori, what was it, Wisp or something? I didn't play Ori, and I'm sure those games were amazing. But this, we all know, because the players, the gamers out there for the Game Awards voted for Ghost of Tsushima. Now, I know for the Joystick Awards, The Last of Us 2 won, but let's be honest, not a lot of people voted in the Joystick Awards. I didn't even vote in that. I didn't even know about it. It popped up out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, Last of Us 2 won. But for the Game Awards, there were tiers, right? There were 3 or 4 tiers, and Ghost of Tsushima won every single time until the end when it faced off against The Last of Us, and it won there. Now, if you're a hater and you're out here like, oh my god, it was 4chan, it was Reddit, it was like come on, enough of that. All right, the majority of gamers, whether you're on Twitter, whether you're just talking amongst your peers, if you played both games and you're not a super hardcore fan of The Last of Us or Ghost of Tsushima, if you just love great video games, everybody knows Ghost of Tsushima is by far the superior game. Not to mention, Ghost of Tsushima added the multiplayer story and raid co-op, the survival co-op as well. I mean, what Sucker Punch did with this game was absolutely amazing. It blows my mind that the media industry in gaming, the gaming media has the fucking nerve to look at Ghost of Tsushima and not realize the technical prowess of what they did to that game and how it's just so far superior than what Naughty Dog did with The Last of Us 2. I mean, the difference between an open world and still a 20-year-old game structure of linear design pushing you down a path with a story. We've been there, we've done that, right? Ghost of Tsushima, from day one, people realized how they streamlined the open world RPG, and how you progressed in that game was amazing. Going from a samurai to the ghost / ninja, upgrading your skills and seeing your animations change. Your stealth kills change and they got better as you became the ghost. To see the story arc of Jin, and for them to disregard that like The Last of Us 2 did something groundbreaking. It sits with me so it sits with me so wrong, because I feel like it's the same thing that happened with God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2. A lot of people thought Red Dead deserved it, but why did God of War win it? Because God of War had the gameplay. God of War's gameplay was just above and beyond what Red Dead provided, which we have seen in Rockstar's game loop, right? Rockstar is definitely the better movie game. It has that movie story-like narrative that pushes you through the game in a movie setting, that you're sitting there for 20-30 hours of cutscenes, and the game is just like, oh my god, it's so good because of the story it tells. That's what The Last of Us does, right? That's what the first one did, that's what the second one did. And the first one, for being its first game, really coming to fruition with what that story told, captivated the audience and captivated people to win it. But this second one, I don't think did either. It was controversial amongst gamers. It's a 50-50 split. And now there are people like me out there who can say, I don't think it deserved to win, but it didn't suck. It wasn't the greatest thing since sliced bread though either. It was a great game, but it deserved its criticism. It had some pacing issues. A lot of the flashbacks and things like that kind of threw you around with the pacing. It was a long game of 30-hour cutscenes. A lot of things maybe could have been trimmed. There was a lot of issues with how Joel was killed. Not necessarily that he was killed, but how he was killed. A lot of people weren't feeling the fact that Joel and Tommy were so naive and stupid. I've even voiced my opinion on that. And a lot of people feel that with Ellie having PTSD at the end of the game, leaving Dina and everyone behind just to get to the end, killing so many people just to let Abby live, didn't make any sense. I agree with that sentiment. God damn it.
No. Just take him.
The fuck, bro? You did all that for what? For what? Sentiment. And whether you agree or not, you should be able to understand that sentiment from people. But the community of people who played that game, not even the haters, just normal people like myself, it's still split amongst whether the writing was the greatest, the art, the direction was the greatest, whether we didn't find these issues arise while sitting there in a 20-minute cutscene while watching Abby stroll around and fill in her backstory, things of that nature. Was The Last of Us 2 amazing? Yes. Was the gameplay amazing? Yes. Was the gameplay better than Ghost of Tsushima and what Sucker Punch did as its first new IP, this game being the first? No, absolutely not. Ghost of Tsushima 100% deserved this win over The Last of Us 2. And it pains me to say that if the gaming media picked this game, whether it was because paid reviews and the money flows more, or just because of political affiliations, that fucking hurts, man. That really does not sit well with me at this point, because that's what I really think it is. It's the fact that we see this game with female leads, one of them being gay. There's a lot of leftist pushed politics within what Neil Druckmann and these writers are doing now with everything that's going on in at Naughty Dog and with The Last of Us 2, using words like bigot and having what I mean by that is when Ellie Kizdina, the freaking, what was the white old guy, came out and was like, we don't need none of that here. And she was like, you're, I don't want to talk to that bigot the next day.
Seth's got something he wants to say to you.
I don't want to hear what that bigot has to say.
Do it for me, please.
Cliche shit like that we all see and we all recognize. Ignoring that, I just don't see how the gaming media could play both of these games, especially with the gamers absolutely loving Ghost of Tsushima. When Ghost of Tsushima dropped, there was nothing but tweets of the photo mode, and everybody was just raving about the game. The Last of Us, right off the bat after day one, people were like, what the fuck is this? What am I playing? What the hell's going on here? Like, this shit doesn't make sense. And then after beating it, a lot of people were like, yo, that story wasn't that great. You can't bring about controversy in a way that doesn't make sense and then expect, because people get so emotional, that wasn't a forced response like it was, because shit didn't make sense, at least in my opinion. All right, and I know a lot of you people might think it does, but bottom line, I'm ranting now. I don't see The Last of Us game loop. I don't see The Last of Us and its game loop and its gameplay beating Ghost of Tsushima out at all. There's no way anyone could have an honest critique with being unbiased with either or, which I feel like I am. I played The Last of Us 2. I thought it was game of the year until I played Ghost of Tsushima, and I realized its game loop was above and beyond anything that had come before it and had come this year. Ghost of Tsushima's game loop was anything but, second. No, that doesn't even make sense. Ghost of Tsushima's game loop was top of the line. It was top tier. It was number one. It should have won Game of the Year this year. Shame on the critics out there. Shame on IGN, GameSpot, all these people that vote in this shit that gave The Last of Us 10 out of 10. Shame on you guys. The gaming media industry is too big for itself at this point. It's become you can't even deny that politics are involved at this point, because anything that becomes this big, politics are involved. Throughout the entire Game Awards show, a lot of little hints thrown out of how these gaming journalists just adored The Last of Us 2, and I just don't see it. I don't see it from the point of view of what I saw with Sucker Punch and Ghost of Tsushima. It was just a better game all around, in my opinion. Now, if you disagree with me, let me know how I'm wrong. Let me know how The Last of Us 2's game loop did anything that made it deserve Game of the Year. Remember, we're playing video games. I don't think just because you thought a story was good or not, that it deserves Game of the Year. All right? The story can be good, but if you don't have the gameplay to drive it, I think a million games can have Game of the Year, right? Because a lot of games out there have great stories, but then you play the game, it's kind of like, this is okay, right? So how did a game loop that was built, back in 2013, that didn't evolve, how did that win Game of the Year again? Other than controversy. You let me know in the comments. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? From what you see from The Last of Us 2, from what you see from Ghost of Tsushima, from what you've played, how does Ghost of Tsushima lose this award? It's bullshit. And shame on all of you gaming journalists out there. You deserve to get slapped in the face. You know, wake the fuck up, man. This shit matters. It matters to where you push the industry with this shit. You know? People should look at a game like Ghost of Tsushima and say, holy shit, look what these guys did. Let's try to model what we're doing after that. It shouldn't be the other. We shouldn't look at The Last of Us 2 and say, yeah, let's all make 30-hour movie games and sprinkle in some gameplay and hopefully, you know, we'll sell millions of copies too. You know, you should be pushing what truly is the best game, not what you think is the best game. From a game loop standpoint, Ghost of Tsushima is the best game. And the addition of multiplayer, the story mode multiplayer, the survival multiplayer, and the raids put it above and beyond anything else in the category. Now, if you think Hades and things like that, maybe. But even with something like Hades, can I play Diablo and feel like Diablo is better than Hades? Maybe. Maybe I need to pick up Hades and give it a shot. But that's all, ladies and gentlemen. That's my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Argue with me down below. Were you disappointed that The Last of Us 2 wouldn't? It's not like we didn't know. Everybody in Discord or if we're chatting or whatnot, if I'm on Twitter, everybody knew The Last of Us 2 was going to win. But that's because we all know the fucking gaming media, the dick of The Last of Us 2 and Neil Druckmann, and everybody thinks he's the best shit since sliced bread, and it's fucking ridiculous. Hit me up down below. Let's talk. I'm out of here, guys. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Well, this is gonna win Game of the Year. I don't think Ghost of Tsushima is gonna be able to top this. I think Ghost of Tsushima is gonna be amazing, but I don't think it's gonna be able to top this shit. Yeah, that's what I think too. I really think The Last of Us is gonna win, but I think Ghost of Tsushima is the superior game and should win. I'd like to see the upset though. I really would. I think Sucker Punch deserves it. A lot of shit was done in this game that is putting other companies on notice. The whole wind concept, the haiku making, bamboo strikes, all these little things, the following foxes, birds, all these little things outside of the main gameplay. The world is amazing. The sound is great. Well, the sound was awesome in The Last of Us as well. It's a hard toss up, man. They both deserve it, but I think The Last of Us 2 might edge out, like I said, because it's got that woke factor.